back then, the street photography scene was damn near non-existent, like out here. I think if nobody's, you know, if you're in a city that nobody's doing it, then you gotta have to be that person that starts doing it, and then somebody might gravitate towards that. I prevented myself from like being able to take the same shots over and over again, and I think that forced me to find other shots in the city. I think that's when your observational skills really have to kick in. Like it was just like, what am I gonna do with this city? Like I have it, like this is my playground, so it's like, and this is a city that I'm connected to.
About street photography, it's easy to think about the bigger cities. New York City, London, Tokyo. But what if you aren't in one of those bigger cities? You can't just book a flight or take a train whenever you want for a session and come home in the same day. How do you go about taking photos and street photos in your city? One that might be a little bit smaller, with less people and action. A couple months ago, I took a trip back home to Rhode Island, where I'm from, and met up with my good friend, Rafael. He is a talented street, portrait, and concert photographer based out of Providence, Rhode Island. I made a video on my channel a while ago about making street photography in a small town, and for a while, I've wanted to do a follow-up video talking about shooting in a smaller city, because that's where I started shooting. I thought this time it would be fun to switch it up and include my friend Rafael, just for a different style of video, and to have him on the channel because we've been talking about doing this for a long time. He was raised in Providence, knows the city like the back of his hand, and has a lot of really great information to share. If you're looking to make the most out of your city, Rafael is the perfect person to listen to. This is definitely a longer one, so sit back, get a coffee, make some popcorn, and hope you guys enjoy. So without further ado, let's introduce you to Rafael.
Give me a second, let me just stretch a little bit. It's one of those days.
Oh, man.
All right.
So who are you?
What is good, y'all? My name is Rafael Medina. I'm a street and concert photographer from Providence, Rhode Island. So I've been doing street photography since 2016, I think, or 2017. So it's been a few years. You know, I mainly shoot Providence because that's where I'm from, but I've been opening up to like shooting out of the city a lot more the last like year or two. So, but Providence is still my main place and where my heart lays on, where my heart is. I don't think lays on makes any sense. Yeah. One other advice that I have for people who are shooting in smaller cities or really anywhere is if there's good lighting, that looks really cool. If there's if there's good lighting, just learn to follow the light. Like I think last year I did that more than I've ever have in the past, and that has gotten me some really great shots because regardless of anything, you might be missing out on some other things, but what you're gonna be gaining from only looking for good lighting is gonna be a lot more than you could probably, understand until you're actually doing it yourself. And I've gotten some really great shots in the process of just on the hunt for good lighting, I think. Obviously it's not gonna happen all the time, but it's something that I highly, highly recommend for people, especially in small cities like this. The shadows that come on here is like so cool. There's nothing hitting it right now, unfortunately. So the problem is too, sometimes depending on it's not that bad now. Sometimes when the car's parked there, that's even brighter. Like it kind of just like throws it off a little bit. But this is like the more straightforward shot in here is just like this. Like so this is always like the go-to shot, I think, in my eyes. I like the idea of getting it like from the side where you kind of get the pillars kind of going down, but there's just not much action going on since it's Rhode Island.
So when there's not a lot of people in the city, how do you adjust, or what do you look for?
So I try to look for, I might gravitate more towards like looking at architecture like of the city, because I think we have really cool architecture. So it's like those things are kind of like a good exercise. When it's in the streets, it's looking for light, like if there's like good lighting somewhere, kind of just seeing what's in that lighting. I don't think you always have to have somebody in the shot in order for it to be a good shot. So I think just seeing what you could come up with without having somebody like just be the main subject in your photo is always good. And I think that's when your observational skills really have to kick in a situation like that, where it's like I might be looking through the window, I might be looking for a reflection, I might be just like seeing what's like going on like in my perimeter, because sometimes I get too caught up like searching for like something big that I'm just like not allowing myself to see what's around me, like more like that too. So it's colors too are a big thing with me. I'm big on black and white, but I still love color. I learned to embrace color a lot more in the last 2 years. So it's sometimes like a street sign or just like something else could kind of just like complement it, and you could just take photos of it, something like that as well. So it could be tough, man.
Yeah.
I will be lying to you if I said it isn't tough. I think because there's a lot of trial and error, a lot of just coming out here and failing. But the few times that you do get something is kind of when it turns out to be really good. So depending on the situation. That was nice. At least I think so. That was something.
That was perfect.
Yeah, that was something. Yeah.
From here, we headed to the top of a parking garage, which Rafael is saying here is one of his favorite spots to decompress. He shares some great tips about what to do if you're feeling stale photographically, shooting in your city, and also how to stay unique within your community. It's a pretty iconic parking garage in Providence. I haven't been up here in a while. So
Yeah, I love that there's nobody here to like tell us not to go up here.
Oh, here we go.
Fire, right?
This is
It's
sick.
fire.
Man, yeah, I
This
haven't
is
been
fire,
up here in a
man.
while.
Yeah, man. This is a spot, man. This is where I'm afraid of heights.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Same.
But it's cool. I think the amount of times that I've been up here, like I kind of just try to not overthink it as much, Damn, I feel like this is low.
I know. My feet are like weak right now.
That's another thing too. Doing street photography in Providence, you end up with so many shots of this building. Of the Superman building. Everybody has like a million shots of this. I barely take photos of it anymore, but like in the moment, I haven't taken a lot of photos of it recently. But this is our pride and joy.
Here it is. That's actually a good question, is with this being like the main building and a lot of people shooting it, how you stay unique shooting in a smaller city like this? How you kind of stand out? That idea.
So especially in the beginning when I was trying to stand out a lot more, I had to tell myself to stop shooting certain things that I would always shoot. 2019 is when I started like shifting like on how I was shooting in Providence, and I went into that year telling myself, okay, you can't take these same shots anymore. Because I would always go out and it would be like my cop out when it's like I can't get anything today. Oh, just get a city shot. Post on Instagram, everyone's like, wow, the city is beautiful. You know what I mean? But it's like those are easier things to gravitate to, and I understand. But like I wanted to gravitate towards like the people and like kind of just more abstract or more shadow, other stuff like base type of photos. So I prevented myself from like being able to take the same shots over and over again, and I think that forced me to find other shots in the city. I started going through different streets. I started just looking at different things, looking at things differently. One of the big things with shooting in the city, I know we'll probably talk about more later, is changing lenses. I think changing your lens is so important when things get stale out here, because when you're shooting with the same lens in a small city that doesn't feel like too much is going on, it just feels like you're looking at the exact same thing over and over again. So when you switch it to like, when I go from like a 35 to a 50, from a 50 to 85, that's when I see like a big change, like kind of like in the things that I'm doing. That happened to me in 2022, I think. I love the Fuji, my favorite camera of all time. Like I bought it back in 2020, and but I was shooting with it since then. So it was like 2 years of nonstop shooting of Providence with it. And I think I kept going on, and I just wouldn't get anything. And I was like, man, I think I need a change of pace. But then I just changed my lenses, and I was only shooting with the 50 and the 85 from like October 2022 to I think it was March of 2023. And that was like, I made a lot of work that I really loved around that time. But that was like a game changer, because it was like getting away from like that 35 focal length and trying something else. And then when I came back to a 35 focal length, it felt brand new to me again, you know, and I was able to kind of actually capture things that I liked again. So.
Do you have like a favorite photo you've ever taken in Providence? And like, what was the story behind it?
I definitely have a few. I don't think I have just one in particular that comes to mind, but I definitely have a few photos that I love. This is the first one I'm gonna mention is like I call it Nightcrawler, the one with the P-Pack. That was the first photo that I ever took in Providence that I thought was a great photo. Like up to that moment in my life, I've liked the stuff that I've done, but I still haven't gotten something that I've just like, man, this is just like so good. And the moment that I got that shot, like I thought I knew I had something, at least in my perspective, you know. And I'm pretty hard on myself, so I don't just like take a shot and just think, oh, this is amazing, like, you know what I mean. So it's like, for me to feel that way, I really have to kind of, you know, really kind of like feel it. And that day in particular was cool because I was getting home and I saw how foggy it was outside, so I was like, I should probably go back to the city. And when I got back to the city, I was walking near their P-Pack and I saw the composition. I think I had the 85 millimeter with me, but I saw the composition and I needed somebody to be in the shot, and I saw this person go into the subway that was there at the time. And I knew that subway was closed, so I was like, they're probably gonna walk back out. So I just sat there, I just waited there for like just a few seconds, and as soon as like they went in, they walked back out like a few seconds later. And then I think I might have gotten just one shot or two shots. And I remember just seeing it and I was like, oh my God. I was just like, I think this is like one of those shots. That's always like the first shot that comes to mind when it comes to that. And I've sold that shot so many times. Somebody bought in like, I think it was like 55 inches. So it was like, they bought it to cover an entire wall in their house, which is like crazy validation, at least in your head. You know what I mean? When you're like proud of something and somebody wants to actually kind of spend money on something like that to cover for their house. But that's definitely the first shot that comes to mind. I also got a shot that I took with Izzy out here of this guy. He had a cigarette in his hand. I mean, he had a cigarette in his mouth. I think he had glasses on, like his hoodie. I love that shot. And that was like a quick, like, I'm like talking with Izzy. I just turned around and I see him and I was like, oh geez. And I just like took the shot. And I remember looking, I was like, nah, I don't know if I got this. Because it was like really dark, but as soon as you get home, you know, luckily this has a good dynamic range. So brighten up and the shot looks so good. So one more to think of. There's one that I took last March that is one of my favorites I've taken in the city. But it's like this horizontal shot that I took. I think it's closer to the pedestrian bridge, but it's like with the shadows. There's these two guys that are walking by and it's like a red, the building is like a red building and like, it's like the sun's hitting them perfectly, but they're just like perfectly in shadow. They're like both laughing and stuff. I love that shot. Like really love that shot. So there's a few shots.
That's perfect.
Yeah.
I feel like a big part of your story is that you would think about how other people would shoot your city. And
yes.
then you started to think, hey, maybe I can do
like that.
Like, why not be that person? Yeah,
correct.
Talk about that a little bit. Like,
yeah,
what was that like?
I just never had the confidence, especially at that time, to like, I just didn't think my work was good enough. So I was always curious on like the artists that I love. I'm like, man, what if they come to my city and shoot? And like, how would they look? But I think once I built the confidence, eventually I stopped caring what anybody else was doing. Like, it was just like, what am I gonna do with this city? Like I have it, like this is my playground. So it's like, and this is a city that I'm connected to. So yeah, it'd be cool to see certain people come and shoot them, but I don't really care. Like I just don't care anymore. Like to me, it's all about like how I view it and stuff. Because a lot of that stuff was always like for my insecurities. Because that was always like my main thing with why I never did photography. Because I was just always too insecure. I just didn't think I could do it. So it's like, so to me, it wasn't even an option. I used to always just see it as like I couldn't do something that they were doing something that I couldn't do, until like I found the courage in me. But even finding the courage, I feel like you have to find it within yourself first. Like I didn't just wake up and be like, oh, I'm gonna be a photographer today. You know what I mean? It was like more of just like years of like working on my self-esteem, understanding that I am capable of doing certain things. I think once it clicked with me that like what everybody else was doing wasn't special, they were just doing it and I wasn't doing it. It was like a whole different, like, it changed like my whole life in a sense. Because I was like, oh, there's nothing special about this person in a sense. Some people there are, but like for most people, like they're just doing it and I'm not doing it. And I'm always like looking for an excuse of why I can't do it.
That's perfect.
Yeah, cool.
And I feel like too, because you you grew up here, right? It's like this is
Yeah,
your city.
this is my
so,
city,
like, you know
100%.
it like
So
the
it's
back
like,
of your hand.
and it's funny because before street photography, I wasn't in the city like this at all. So the city was very foreign to me. Like I remember one of the first times coming down here with Jabron, I just felt like I don't belong. Like I was just like, is this safe? It's like, I was a lot younger, but it's just like this is all unfamiliar territory. So it was, as life goes on and you start coming down here a lot more, it's like a different perspective now. To me, this feels as home as it can feel. Like whenever I leave, whenever I'm traveling somewhere else, it always reminds me how much I love my city. I think no matter, even though I love being in other places, but whenever I come home, it's always just like, oh yeah, this is so much more quiet. This is so cool. This is like separated and stuff like that. So I learned doing the zine that I just released. My style changed depending on my environment. So it's like, if it's like a more quieter area, I might shoot a little bit differently, I might be more reserved. I might not be like, I'm not gonna be in your face in certain people because I'm all for getting a good photo, but I also don't want to just kind of be that asshole that's just like in front of your face. And I'm not knocking anybody else that does it because some of my favorite photographers, fucking, what's his name again? Eaten by Flowers?
Yes.
Phenomenal. Like next level. I mean, just like I am always in awe by his work, but it's like, that's not really my style of like approach. You know what I mean? And I don't think that's for everybody, but the few people that do and the few people that are really great at it, I'm all for it. Like I am just like, that stuff is inspiring, but for me, it's a little bit different. You know what I mean? Like,
I feel like that's an important part too that you just mentioned, like playing off your strengths and your shooting style. It's like kind of understanding how you shoot and using that in your city.
100%.
Like, yeah, that's kind of.
I think so too. And just like, and even being, I'm aggressive here when I need to be. You know what I mean? Like I'm gonna sit here and act like all my shots are just from me being kind. You know what I mean? In a sense. So it's like, and if somebody's ever really bothered by something, I don't care letting it go. Like it's not, to me, this one photo is not really gonna change everything for me. I've taken a shot of somebody one time that I got called out last year. I was doing photos for this like park, right? The District 13 park. And then they wanted me to take photos of like the environment and stuff like that. And it's cool because the street photography is what I'm doing in a sense. The only thing about it is that sometimes if you're like out there for a long time, like for too long, depending on the people there, they might kind of just like, you become like, they're very aware of you because you've been here for a while.
Yeah.
And there was this lady that I wanted to take a photo of because I wanted to ask certain people if they allow me to take a photos of them for the park. Mm-hmm. And then like, I kind of like watched her. I was watching a few people and I saw her and I was like, I should just ask her. But she seemed like she really wasn't gonna be about that life. She kind of seemed like business oriented, kind of this girl that was on the phone. And then I took like a sneaky shot from afar. At least I thought it was sneaky. And then I was like, let me just go up to her and ask her. And I went up to her and asked her. And she was like, yeah, no, I'm all set. And delete that photo that you took. Oh my God. Yeah. So, yo, respect. I was like, you know what? You got that. I was like, don't worry about it. Like, so it's like, you take your risk, man. But like for every time that happens, like that happens once in a blue. You know what I mean? One thing I started doing a lot more in the last year was like asking people for portraits in the streets. And you learn that like most people are pretty kind about it. Even if you ask 10 people, you might get like 6, 7 yeses, and it's like, it's very rare that somebody's gonna be like really off about it. But like in the few cases that it happens, it's okay. Those are like one-off, shots. So it's like, I think most people feel flattered, I think. But especially if you genuinely have something, like a reason for it, Actually, you know what? You probably haven't been through here. This is a new spot that they opened up.
Oh, no, I haven't.
Yeah, let's do that then.
Let's do that. Yeah. So yeah, you were kind of just talking about it, but something you've been doing is like the street portraits here.
Yeah.
And documenting people in the city.
Mm-hmm.
Talk about, like, you kind of just did, but like talk about that a little bit, I guess.
Yeah, absolutely. That's been one of my favorite things. Just that connection with people, I think is really cool. Especially doing it in your city. It's just a matter of finding the courage to ask people. Oh, that's what I was saying. As long as you genuinely find something, like have a reason why you're asking somebody for a portrait, I think that's like the important part. Cause like, I'm not just looking for like a pretty girl, you know what I mean? Like if you're just like looking for that could come off like kind of off. There was like some lady that I asked for a portrait and she was like, oh, why? Like she just kind of didn't understand why I would ask for a portrait, but I knew exactly why. Like I saw her she had like this like green jacket, I think, and she had like this like hat that matched it. She looked really nice. She was like she was like a little bit older, maybe like in her 60s, and she was like kind of had her guard up. And as soon as I told her why, she was like, oh wow, yeah, thank you. She was like, yeah, I would love to. Like, fortunately the portrait sucked. Like, it was like my fault for not like positioning her properly. Like, but it was like such a, just that moment always kind of like makes you better at it for the next time. There's so many portraits that I didn't like, but I love the interaction with the people. But that's something that I want to do a lot more. I think I probably took my favorite street portrait, maybe with that guy that has like his hand. He has like a little hat, and he had like at
the bus.
Near the bus. It was like near Black Sheep.
Yes.
Yeah. I love that portrait. I think his name is Chuck. Somebody out here told me that like when they see his photo, they're like, oh, I showed Chuck this photo. This isn't that. I think it's Chuck. I could be wrong.
That's awesome.
But they told me that they showed him the photo. So I want to do like a small print of it to just give it to him if I see him. I got a lot of love in that photo, but like he gave me that opportunity to allow him to to allow me to take a portrait of him. So it's like just like being grateful for that moment, because nobody owes you anything. Nobody has to say yes to anything that you want to do. Unfinished painting, because it always just looks like kind of just like there should be more buildings or something like that. But I love, I love that about it.
Yeah.
Until I'm sure at some point, decades down the line, it's not gonna be like this. What's up, homie? Okay, you're right. You're right. Yeah. You're right.
I've never seen that in real life.
He gave me that cat hiss. I didn't even know. This bird's cool. This bird keeps coming back to the same spot. At least I think it's the same bird. Sometimes you get portraits of animals too.
Yeah.
So it's like that's part. You have to make the best of what you have.
You do have a lot of bird shots that you've taken here.
I've taken a few, yeah.
Like
Definitely not as much.
No,
it's somebody.
The bird king.
But I've definitely taken some shots, and I also think just like sometimes you get a good shot of like other like just animals depending on how it is. I took this one of my favorite portraits I've taken of I think it was like last year, of this dog that he's like out of the car. I don't know if you've seen it. I'll send it to you. But the dog is like out of the car and looks like he's like this, like out of the car, just kind of like looking out, just looking directly at me. He's like a small dog. Mm-hmm. But it just looks like a perfect shot. Like it looks like they're stopped, but I got it like as they were just like moving and stuff. And it looks so good in my eyes. So it's like being open to things like that. And you know what I mean, out here.
It's like all options. Take use of all opportunities.
Especially when you feel that you're a little more limited too. I don't think it has to do with the city, but like to stay inspired is just kind of like keeping my mind open. Like I'm not just looking for stuff from like my city. Like I'm still looking through my photo books. I might still go to museums that we have in the city, go to galleries. I think things like that inspire me to continue to push my work forward, I think too. So it's like I might want to, there's a lot of galleries out here. Luckily, this is like the creative capital. So there's always like really cool things. They just had one at the Waterfront Art Center that was like incredible. So it's like, even when I saw that, I was like, oh, I want to get out there. Like, it wasn't even street photography, you know what I mean? But in my mind, I was just like, oh, this just inspired me. This is good art. And I'm seeing it out here, and it just like inspires me to go out there and push myself a little bit more too. So it's like, that's like definitely one of the things that really, really motivate me to keep getting better at that and stuff. So
like going out to local galleries.
Being
in the art scene.
Correct, yeah, I think that's big too. But I think also I have, trying to come out here consistently even when you don't want to, I think is important too. Because a lot of times you think that you're not going to get anything, you might not be in the mood to, and you're just like, I'm uninspired today, but then you go out and you might, those might be the days that you get like some of the best work, or you might see something that you never seen before, I think. I think of this photo I took of this girl playing the ukulele with, I think it was her boyfriend or whatever it is. But that was like a day that I was like, I remember walking out, I was like, why did I even come out today? I was like, it was like this, like it was like there was no sun, I wasn't in the mood, so there's no good light to go after. And then I just remember, I just turned the corner and she's just there playing the ukulele with the guy. And I was just like, wow, this is a really sweet moment. And then I took some photos, asked them if I could take more. They let me kind of, take it as they're going. So it's like, you never know what you get and stuff like that. When I did the New Year's Eve, the New Year's Eve thing was crazy here. I'm not gonna lie to you. That was one of the most impressive things I've seen out here. The New Year's Eve celebration. in shock by how good that was.
Really?
Yeah,
Where
I got
was it?
hired. I got hired. I think I worked for the district park again for that, and they did like a New Year's Eve thing here where it was like they crushed the fireworks. I was
That's
so
awesome.
so impressed. Like I didn't know what to expect because like most of the people at the park were like on vacation or something. So like
Yeah.
they didn't really give me a guideline. They didn't give me like a list. They would just like kind of go and do whatever I had to do. And I don't like when I do events that I don't have passes on because then like it looks like I'm just kind of like some weird guy just like, hey, can I get a portrait of me and your kids, please, for myself? Like, it's like, but it's like I didn't know what to. I was like, man, I'm not really in the mood. Like this isn't that. And I went, and when I got here, I was like, wow, this is packed. It was packed out. The whole bridge was completely like shoulder to, like the bridge was like, I've never seen the bridge like
That's
that.
awesome.
And then and Izzy was working for the Providence Tourism too, so we were both like shooting it. And when they did the final things up here, it was amazing. Next year I will definitely make time to come to that by myself. I don't get hired, definitely to just come and shoot it like street
That's
photography
awesome.
stuff.
I'm glad they did that.
It was like super impressive. So that's why I think it's cool how they're utilizing this space like that.
Right.
So that's one of the things, shooting events,
Yes.
looking for events. I think making a list of it and making sure that you make the time for it instead of just like, oh, I'll see if I make it. No, it's like put it on your calendar. Like they're having this at this time. I think it's important to look out for, especially Waterfire, the summertime. Waterfire is like the best event to get a ton of people, I think. Some of my favorite shots is when I went out shooting it was me, Tyler, and Derek. We came out to the Waterfire. We were somewhere and we were at AS220 and we were like, oh, we just go to the Waterfire. And that day, I just felt on. I remember Derek was like, I've never seen you like that. And I was like, I'm on it today. I don't give a fuck. I don't care. And I just got photos that I absolutely love from that day, like love. So it's like, because Providence feels like so different on those days. And when it's packed, beautiful night out, everyone's in a good mood. Everyone's like out, you know what I mean?
Right.
So it's, but anytime they have any other events, because nowadays there's more events in the city than there's been before, I think. So it's like kind of staying aware of that.
For somebody who is in their community and they want to like start shooting with more people, what would you say to them?
Oh, like to approach it and stuff?
Yeah.
Well, first I think you should just be active, period. Like on your own, like for yourself. Because I think from there, that's how you could start, people can gravitate towards your work, but you can start gravitating towards others. Because like you might not know too much about the community until you actually start being involved and then you start seeing like other stuff. But I think if you ever want, I'm really big on reaching out to people, I think reaching out, if you have any questions, if you have, questions about certain things that you want to do something that somebody else is doing, like I always think you should just ask. The worst anybody could say is no, or they could just ignore you. And you're gonna be perfect. You're gonna be exactly where you are if that happens. You know what I mean? So it's like, when I started, I hit up a few photographers, and there was like two specific ones that like, I went out and got like food with them. I took them out to dinner, and they like let me just pick their brains and stuff like that. So I think that's important. But and too that back then the street photography scene was damn near non-existent, like out here. Like I didn't really. Once again, I would only see more landscape, like shots of the State House, shots of the Superman building, shots of the city, and it's just like I didn't really see too many people like kind of like in this, like kind of out here doing it. So I think if nobody's, if you're in a city that nobody's doing it, then you gotta have to be that person that starts doing it, and then somebody might gravitate towards that, because think about the people that might have seen your work and got inspired the fact that you're just doing something like that too. And I've been fortunate enough that I've had a lot of people reach out to me because of stuff like that, and I've had the opportunity to help out a lot of people in the process with just like starting and kind of just doing, trying to help them out with doing things like that. But that I think things come from that too. So like the gallery things, like I only started doing galleries because I started being more involved with other people. I think of like the first time I was at the Waterfire Art Center is because I met JP. And because the reason I met JP is because I went to this like at the, I think renting of the studio stuff. I forgot. I think that's the name of it. I went to it. They had like this opening for like photographers to do. So like I went to it. I met JP there, and JP was like, "Yo, I'm a fan of your work. This and that." And then we started talking. Is that Cam Bells? Is that Cam? Yo.
Just crossed my time.
Yeah, oh, for real. What's up, man? How you doing? Oh, dope. Hell yeah, man. How you doing? That's Winslow. That's Cam Bells. What I'm saying is the reason why I was part of that first Waterfire Art Center gallery was because me meeting other people got me that opportunity, So I think.
I'm like trying to figure out how to walk.
Yeah, I know. This New Yorker doesn't know how to walk.
Also, just seeing all these like apartment buildings pop up in this area is
yeah,
crazy.
this is all new to you too, because they've been working on this shit for a while.
This is crazy.
They've been working on these for a while too,
Yeah,
but
this
it's
is,
like
changing.
yeah, no, it's cool,
That's
man.
another thing I can ask you is like how important it is to be shooting here over the years to like document the change. Because even since I've been gone the last 8 months, it's changed
man.
a lot.
A lot.
It's crazy.
That's one of the things that I really love about being so present in the area. It's just like seeing the change through my work, like seeing certain photos and I'm like, man, I can't get this photo again because like there's a building in front of this, you know what I mean, or something like that.
Right.
So I think being able to, seeing like how much the city's changed, especially because I feel like the city's been like on the up and coming for like years now. Mm-hmm. So I think just even being involved in a way of just documenting it, it's something that I'm really, really proud of and really happy that I can do that. I think about that when I got that Providence book, that Providence journal book that I posted one time. So that book is that's one of my favorite photo books I own just because I could see my own city, how it used to be. And you see how like where the train tracks were, where the highways used to be, how the train used to go right into the city where like the like near the Providence Place Mall, like all these things that you don't see anymore because once they're gone, you know? Right. So it's like being able to document that stuff it's really, really cool to me. Perfect. And it changes, like you said, it changes so quickly.
It's changed a lot.
Look at that CIC building, how like just like a few years ago I wasn't there, that like covers the and they're like they've been like crushing it out here too. Like they've been doing a lot of, I just went to one of their events for like photographers, for artists, and they've been like just really, really crushing it out here.
Awesome. Definitely seems like there's a lot more opportunities popping up. Yeah,
I think so too. I think, and I feel like a lot of times it's more about just, like I said earlier, putting yourself out there, because it's like, there's opportunities that I've gotten that it's not necessarily about that I'm always the best candidate for certain things. It's just that like I'm like being like proactive about those things. You know what I mean? Right. And that goes for anything. Like that goes, I think it's just about the person that's like putting themselves out there. And like the CIC building, I have a gallery there at the CIC building. It's supposed to be there for like 6 months, but it's been lasting a little bit longer. But they gave me full access to the building while I have like my gallery there. So like I could go 24/7. I could go in that building. We can go in that building right now. Like, you want to go?
Yeah, we can go check it out.
Yeah, of course. We can check it out. Yeah, it's a tall one that's like right across the street from the park.
So here, Rafael took me to the CIC building, which is a brand new building that had gone up after I left the city.
I think it's this floor.
This is a good thing.
It's fire, right?
Yeah, it's fire here.
They have a bunch of different co-working spaces where companies work out of. It's an event space where they have gallery shows, different kinds of things. It's a co-working space where you can just pop in and do work. Rafael was saying it's $300 a month, but because they gave him an opportunity to show some of his work in here, he had the membership for free while he had his photos up on the walls. It's a really cool opportunity, and it just goes to show what can come from getting involved in your community and just meeting people along the way.
So they have all of these.
Oh, yeah, here we go.
So it was cool because I was able to use some of these newer frames that I had, like this gray frame.
That looks so good.
I had that wood one too.
Yeah.
This is that photo I was telling you about earlier. I was talking about a photo that I really loved that I took last year. This is one that I like really, really liked a lot.
This is so good, though.
Yeah, no, this is a cool opportunity, man. Very cool opportunity.
Have your website and like Instagram
everything.
On
Yep.
and stuff.
That's cool, man. It's a really, really cool spot.
Yeah, this is amazing.
Yeah.
And then from here, we went to another building downtown where he showed me the biggest opportunity he's had as far as showing his work in an event space in the city.
So where are we headed right now?
Well, I don't like to brag, you know what I'm saying? Well, we're heading to a gallery that I have. I have a gallery for a year here on a place called 100 Westminster Street. So it's a gallery that I did with the Avenue Concept, which is a local company that just curates like things for artists, as well. They're like the biggest company out here when it comes to that. And I was fortunate enough to work with them as an artist on this one. So we're doing a full year gallery here with like 7 or 8 of my pieces. And this is like the biggest thing that I've done so far as an artist, as a solo artist so far. So I'm very, very excited about this. I'm excited to show you guys this work. So yeah, it's gonna be a good time. Yeah. I'm gonna walk you in. Walk you in my place. I think this is the one that's been received the best out of all of them, by far. Just because of the reflection is so clear on this particular shot. And this is actually upside down too. So this is like the actual reflection and this is like the actual, actual thing. So this is the one that like I think people have like received the best out of all of these shots. So definitely one of my favorites that I've done. Got lucky with all the cars being white. I think it makes the shot a lot better because every single car in here is white. So it just like, it was just like the contrast of it as well. So with the snow and everything, it's
so sick.
It's pretty nice, my friends.
The fact that this makes like a perfect circle.
So it looks to me it looks like a portal that's going into it. And that's what, it was literally, once again, the whole being present and I was like, I haven't done a snow day yet and it's snowing today, so I'm gonna go out. And to this day is one of the best sessions I've ever had in my life, by far. I had like so many photos from this day in particular. And then
this shot is insane.
So I really love this shot. I'm very big on having a street photographer's mentality regardless of where you are. So it's not necessarily of just shooting in the streets, but like having that type of mentality to shoot anywhere depending on, you know what I mean? Whether you're in the streets, whether you're in a building, whether you're in wherever it is, especially with our phones, we could do anything with our phones nowadays. This particular shot though was done during a Sweet 15 that I was shooting. That's what makes it even cooler to me in my perspective because I had my Fuji just as last to take some like behind the scenes shots, whenever I could. And we were in the bus pulling up to downtown and the sun was hitting us a certain way and there was like a little kid that was like, one of the kids was like separated from everybody else and he's just sitting down and then he thought we were like pulling up to the venue and as soon as we pulled up he just like got up instantly and then I was like, oh my God. And I just like literally by myself just like took like a few, like 2-3 shots and then he just like, as soon as he did it, he just like ran to the front. So then I remember just getting the shot and I was like, yeah, this ends the Sweet 15 right now. I was gonna tell the mom, we should just cancel the rest of this shoot because I think I got the shot that I wanted. But it's like, it's cool because she's been, she was cool about me just using it for however I want. I've been able to use it so many times. It just feels like very home, I think, because of Rhode Island, because of the State House, like it all feels, the emergency exit sign too, the people playing there as well. So very, very proud of this shot.
Easily one of my favorites here too.
And the printing was so good on all of these.
It looks amazing.
So like all of these is done through I think it's IO Labs or EO Labs. I don't know how to properly pronounce it. But they are amazing at printing. I've been wanting to work with them for years now, ever since I saw a gallery at the Waterfire Art Center. And I remember when I went to their website to check their price, I was like, oh yeah, this makes sense because I can't afford this. So like when they reached out to me about this, they told me they were gonna print it themselves. I wasn't gonna pay for it and they were gonna pay for it through this company. I was like, I've been wanting to work with them forever. I've been wanting to work with the Avenue concept forever. So it all kind of just came together at once. So it's worked out, man.
So sick.
How you doing? Yeah, man, it's cool. And this is a shot that I got this shot for them because this is a hotel, the Beatrice Hotel. They hired me to get a shot for them of the hotel. So this is like the one shot that I had to create for them. I sent them this because I figured this is the actual building. So I was like, they're probably gonna want this photo. And as soon as I sent them I had to send them like 15 or 20 photos. They was like, well, this is the only one that's a definite so far. They was like, and I was like, yeah, I figured because it's like your photo. But it's a good photo too. This was back in 2020 when I like started like really taking photography to the next level that summer. So it reminds me of that time.
The contrast, it's so good.
Yeah, man, it was just cool. It was a really cool time. That summer was the summer to me that I elevated my work to the next level. And so anytime I see a photo from that summer, it just reminds me of that feeling of just like, I feel like this year I started loving my work for the first time, I like the Providence station. Yeah, man, I like this is like I think this might have been the oldest shot. Yeah, this is like, I like the Providence train station. They actually use like a generated fill for this photo, and I was not happy about it at first. I'm not like,
oh no,
because they sent us an email saying like, oh, we had to use like this AI generated fill for this like photo. I looked at the email, I was like, what? I was like, they touched my image. Like I was like, and the lady from the Avenue concept, like she hit me up. She's like, I can't believe that they did this. And then I was like, I had to go approve the images. And then when I went to approve, what's up, man? How you doing? Oh shit, Carlo? What's up, bro? How you doing? Oh, no. What's up, man? You're good. This is my work, so I was just saying. Yeah. So I was just, yeah. Thanks. Yeah, all of this stuff is my work. Good seeing you, man. Yeah, you too. But yeah, they ended up, so she was just telling me, I had to go approve the images. So she was like, well, if you don't like it, they're gonna have to redo it. She was like, there's no way, there's no way. But then when I got there, I saw what they did. The thing is that the image was really like this. So like they literally just expanded this
Oh, they made it
more
wider.
down, and they just added more, like if it's like here, they just added like this piece.
Oh, okay.
There's nothing that they added to it, and I think for the size of it and the way they do it, it makes, to me, I didn't have any problem with it. Like it wasn't, if it was an issue with it, I would have said something.
Right.
But like if I see them add like
Yeah,
they added some pedestrian, they added like a little taxi. I mean, this might be a problem. One thing I like about the shot is that I don't see too many shots of the Providence station.
Yeah,
I
no,
think.
it's sick.
So
And it's so clear too. Just
To the
says
Providence station. Yeah,
right
yeah,
up
and I
front.
like that you could see this
Yeah.
here from the State House. So I think
Even
it's
the
cool.
way it's composed, where you have like the whatever these things are called, like the way
Yeah,
they're lined
yeah,
up,
yeah,
it's like
yeah.
you can
No,
see
it
all
was,
of them.
once again, it was definitely that luck, just being present. That, because nobody's ever typically in that area unless like their thing. So it's
Yeah.
like, it was definitely a cooler shot. And
This
I like
one.
this too with the rip though. This is one of those shots that I had for like a year plus without even noticing about it. And then one time I really like looked through some of my old photos, and I just really like the shadows, how you can still see this, how the ripta comes out. Like it feels very Providence in that sense with the Superman building. Oh, the Superman building. Yeah, we talked about earlier. Like,
building.
like yeah, like there's so many shots you could take of it, but I really, kind of find your own unique perspective ways of doing it. So yeah.
Congrats on this.
Thanks, man. It's always wild just coming in, just even seeing my name.
Yeah,
I know
it's,
my
like,
father walked in
huge.
and saw it because we're the same name, so he was like, "Oh, my father was like."
I love this shot.
Yeah, I like the shot a lot too. I love the shot just because of I love the reflections of it. I feel like it's, one thing I always get asked is if it's a double exposure. People always ask me, oh, is this a double exposure shot? Just because it kind of looks like it with this and stuff. But once again, it's just like the two windows and just being lucky, being present. And I waited for this shot. So we talked about earlier, this was like a 10-15 minute wait for this particular shot, and it kind of like worked out. So I love the way this looks like it's actually, like it doesn't even look like a reflection here. It kind of looks like it's like, you know what I mean?
Looks like it's literally right there.
Because it's so clear, so it looks like it's right there. And it's just like, and everything has to be hitting, because like the sun has to be hitting in your area too. So like that's why that's the way the sun was hitting in this area and everything. So everything has to kind of just be like hitting like everything just has to align properly, I guess, in certain moments. Because I think I've been to this area so many times, and I have yet to ever like see this shot again, technically, the times that I've been there, So, and it's such a quiet street too, so it's like nobody really like, I think this is off Benefit Street or something, like maybe like early on or something like that. So, yeah, that's cool, man.
As we're heading over here, so you did a whole book on Providence.
Yes, I did. My first, it was my love letter to my city. I call it Dear PVD, so it's just like Dear Providence, basically. I've always wanted to make a book about Providence or just a photo book with my work, but because I'm so hard on myself with like whether the work is good or not, I always just figured it all in due time. Once I actually feel that my work is there, then I'll be able to start on that process. And that year was like 2020 is when like things really changed for me. Everything with the pandemic here and kind of just changed my kind of like how I was approaching photography, because I didn't really know what to do. But I think that summer I was able to work. I did so much street photography that summer because I was working from home at the time. So once I started doing that, I remember by the end of the summer, I was like, oh, I think I'm starting to slowly get ready for that thing that I've been wanting to do. And then it's just something that by the end of the year, I started working on that, put it off. And it wasn't until the end of next year is when I was able to actually finish it. But it's till this day probably my favorite thing that I've done as an artist. Like just like thing, I just love the work. I love that it's all my photos from my city. It shows like the creative ways you could like take capture your city as well. And it's definitely check it out. I still have like I originally had 200 copies, and I'm down to 5 copies, which I'm it's a huge flex. I'm not gonna lie to you. To me, it's a huge flex, and it's something that I'm so proud of. But it's like I am very proud of that book, and I'm happy that like the way it was well received by people. So I have plans. I'm doing another Rhode Island book within the next year, hopefully. I've been wanting to do like a follow-up to this for a long time, but I recently released a zine, and I wanted to get this out the way first before I did my next Rhode Island book again. So it's like, I'm excited for y'all. When I release this next book, it's gonna be crazy. I am going to go all out on just like the way I'm marketing it, the book itself. I want to do a solo exhibition with it and all this stuff. So it's like, I definitely want to take this to the next level, and kind of just like keep like pushing keep pushing the needle forward on this, especially out here. You know what I mean? Because I feel like we have to take full control of that because we are the ones who are out here, all of us, you know, out here doing the street photography. So you're gonna see something soon too. We're gonna do stuff about local photographers pretty soon.
Yes.
So
This
pretty
man
excited
right
about
here.
that. Yeah.
So we started here. This feels like a good spot to end.
Yes.
So where can people find you and follow along with what you got coming up?
So you can follow me on Instagram, Rafiq's PVD, and you could also follow me on YouTube with the same Rafiq's PVD. And check out my website, rafiqs.com. That has all my concert work, my street work, my portraits, so you'll be able to kind of see what I'm doing. And sign up for my mailing list, be able to keep you up to date. I maybe once a month at that. So yeah, check me out, guys, and it's been fun with y'all.
Sick.
Winslow, thank you.
Thank you for
I appreciate
doing
it, man.
this.
Thank you. We've been trying to do this for so long that I'm just so happy that we're finally here, and it just worked out perfectly. So I appreciate you. Thank you.
Appreciate you too. Sick.
Awesome.